Hey guys, Goldie Jr. Plus back to More to Your Day, and I said I want to do a lot of variety while the off season is going on, but with the draft and stuff, with basketball going on, I'm still thinking about sports all year round, so it's kind of hard to actually still get these videos out. But while I'm still thinking about the Falcons and the Lakers, and I guess the Braves are starting, but I don't really care about the Braves. Duke too though. But anyway, this is my Pokemon Teams of 2024 list. So I started this back in 2021 when I saw M and JTV do it. I did in 2021. I had 6 teams in 2021. I had 3 in 2022, 2 in 2023, something like that. And then this year I have 3 that I'm really going over, but there's technically 5, and you'll learn why later. But for now, we should begin with the first team of 2024. Pokemon Black, my first ever playthrough of the game. I've been going through older Pokemon games recently. I played regular Diamond a year ago, and now we're doing Pokemon Black for my first ever playthrough. I finished this game around February 2024, probably like February 9th, about that time. And I picked Samurott. So this is the second time I ever used a Samurott. First time was Hisuian Samurott in Legends Arceus, which is weird because actually I think a lot of people don't care for Hisuian Samurott and they prefer Typhlosion. I see a lot of Typhlosion love Hisuian Typhlosion, but I always liked Samurott more. I don't know why. I didn't care for Hisuian Typhlosion. I don't like either form of Decidueye, so I went with Samurott there. This time I picked him once again, Chopper the Samurott. You can see I decided to change it up here. I usually have a PNG image, official Pokemon image of the Pokemon themselves, just the white background and stuff. But I decided to take actual pictures of the Pokemon to make it feel like you're really like seeing that actual Pokemon I used on the team, since I haven't deleted any of the save files. So I have all these Pokemon. So here's Samurott, Chopper, you can see Goldie Jr., original trainer. Of course, you have the regular starter ability Torrent with Aqua Jet, Revenge, Surf, and X Scissor. Now, of course, I have to do the Pokemon ranking. I do that every single year. I gave Samurott 8 out of 10, which really is what you want for a starter. I'd say 7 out of 10 is average for a Pokemon on my team. 8 out of 10 is usually how high a good Pokemon does. I called him consistent as an all-water type starter should be. Could have had more interesting moveset. You have a starter, you want to be able to bring them in even when they don't have their main type be a super effective move. But Samurott, I mean, X is pretty good. Revenge isn't that great. But Aqua Jet's pretty good for just, like, you hit him with a Surf, they have the low HP, but you always outspeed because you have that Aqua Jet there. Chopper was a very good starter Pokemon. And I think Emboar is better than Samurott in this game, but I think Samurott is better than Servine, so I made a decent decision. As we move on to my second option. Also, these are ordered based on not ranking, like how good they are, but when I caught them. So, second Pokemon I caught was Chris the Crocodile. I caught him like... Well, actually, there's a few Pokemon that I actually had on my team that I ended up using. I had a Sawaddle. I had a Timber, but those guys didn't end up staying. Crocodile, I had him for a while. I had Sand Down for a while. And he was still on the team till the very end. Of course, he had Moxie, Foul Play, Embargo, Torment, which I didn't use Embargo and Torment as much as I thought I would. I used Torment a little bit. I don't think I clicked Embargo one time, and Dig. Crocodile here also gets an 8 out of 10. Moxie created some sweeps, but I can't put him over Chopper due to an even more limited selection of moves. So, I didn't give him an 8.5 out of 10. I just gave him a clean 8, because just like Chopper, I didn't feel like I was doing much if they weren't super effective to the Pokemon I'm going against. Actually, Chris had less variety in his moveset than Samurott. The only reason he gets the same ranking is because Moxie was pretty broken. Even if I'm about doing a full sweep, I can still take out 2 to 3 Pokemon. As long as I'm not weak to them, Moxie would help me one-shot a few members. Yeah, Moxie's a really good ability. Crocodile's a pretty good Pokemon in Unova. He gets an 8 out of 10. Next is Dreaky the Darmanitan. She had Sheer Force. I think I caught her and Sandow in the same spot, actually. I just found Sandow first, and then I found Darumaka. She has Sheer Force with Flare Blitz, Hammer Arm, Will-O-Wisp. I don't know why it just says Will-Wisp. And Belly Drum. Will-O-Wisp could have just auto-corrected the Will-O-Wisp. I can't remember. But it's cool slide. It probably didn't. Driki gets a 10 out of 10. She had major sweep potential along with many clutch moments. An easy MVP of the team. Sheer Force is a pretty broken ability. Basically what it does is it ignores any additional effects of moves. In return, it boosts the power by about 30%. So, for example, Flare Blitz has a chance to burn. So, instead of Flare Blitz being, 120 power, it's about 160 base power with Darmanitan instead. And along with Darmanitan's insane attack stat, I don't think it's actually that high. Is it like 95? Or is it 100? It's not insane, but it's really good for a playthrough Pokemon. Along with Flare Blitz already having high base stats. It makes it like just one shot pretty much anything that isn't resistant or extremely bulky. So if you're like if I'm facing off against a Watchog, it probably one shots it anyway. Even if I didn't use Hammer Arm. I know the recoil was slightly annoying, but it didn't seem to be that much of a problem. Flimmers is still a really good move. I don't really care about the recoil like that. Darmanitan was really clutch, very fast, very strong. Definitely the strongest Pokemon of this playthrough. And I didn't even use it as a belly drum like that because there's no reason to use belly drum because I had recoil by Flare Blitz. But yeah, 9 out of 10, which is usually around what my MVPs are ranked. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, something like that. As we move on to the fourth team member, V the Galvantula. She had an Unnerve with the moveset of Signal Beam, which is weird. That was her best bug type move. But Electro Ball, Sucker Punch, and Thunder Wave. V gets a 7.5 out of 10, a fun and useful fourth option, but didn't excel at anything or separate itself from the team. Since I said 7 is average, it doesn't mean about average, I'd say. Because, 6, it's alright, I wish it did better, but 7 is, you are a good member of the team. V gets a 7.5 because I actually did use it a lot. It doesn't have many weaknesses or anything. I can just fire, rock, I don't think flying. I can electric resist flying, but it doesn't have a ton of weaknesses. Because I can bug resist ground? I can't really remember. I think it does. Actually, Galvantula had better stats than I expected. I mean, even though Joltik was pretty trash, as its first stage since it evolved, it became very useful. The reason I said it couldn't separate itself is because, well, specifically, if I didn't have a strong Pokemon against something, I wouldn't choose V. I would go with Darmanitan or Crocodile or Samurott to take it down. But yeah, good speed, which is surprising. I don't know why. I just didn't expect the spider to be that fast, but it's an electric type. And spiders are pretty fast. I know from experience trying to chase them down, so it's not surprising. It's a pretty good Pokemon. You might be looking like, I have 2 8s, a 7.5, and a 9. It seems like a pretty good team. What I didn't tell you about this team is that I didn't grind. So these last 2 were interesting. Ollie the Mean Foo. Not Mean Xiao, Mean Foo. I did not evolve this thing before beating Getsis. It had Regenerator, Acrobatics, U-Turn, Strength, and Drain Punch. It gets a 6 out of 10. Should have... Okay, that's supposed to be grinded, not grounded this up. So he could have been max potential. Frail and unreliable, but somehow got the job done. I mean, I don't know if this is really, true, but I feel like fighting types are pretty useful. The Girder I had was pretty good for a replace it with Mean Foo. Just for it to be worse than Girder, because it couldn't fully evolve either. Acrobatics is a really good move. U-Turn is really useful as well. Since the thing was frail, U-Turn was actually very useful to get it out of there if I felt like it was about to die, while also being able to do some damage. For a non-evolved Pokemon, all you really want is attack and speed if you are going to use something that's not fully evolved, and that's what Mean Foo had, so at least it could do damage and it could outspeed some Pokemon if it was a higher level than them. But of course, it wasn't very helpful in the last battle, and I was under-leveled, and... I don't know, man. Grinding sucks. That's why the XP shares are one of the best things. I do appreciate the older games. I think Diamond and Black are still good games, despite the fact that they don't have the XP share, but makes it a lot easier to use fully evolved Pokemon, especially because, I grinded these guys for a lot, actually. I feel like around that time, I should have been level 43. I grinded them up quite a lot, and they still were in that evolution level. Speaking of unevolved Pokemon, we also have Atreus, the Pawniard / Bisharp. The reason I say that is because... I beat the game as a Pawniard and evolved into Bisharp later. So this thing was technically a bit Pawniard when I beat the game. I just ended up evolving into Bisharp later, which is why it's pictured of Bisharp. He has Inner Focus, Metal Claw, Iron Defense, Night Slash, and X Scissor. And he gets a 5 out of 10, which I think is the lowest. I think the Aggron from Omega Ruby got a 5.5. Bisharp just wasn't very useful. Another Pokemon I should have leveled up before facing Getsis. Now, this was even worse than Mewtwo. Pawniard just wasn't good. I'm gonna be completely honest. It just was not good. I already had a Dark type. Steel isn't a great offensive type, and I didn't have the bulkiness because it wasn't fully evolved. It was a Pawniard. I definitely will eventually do another Pokemon Black playthrough, probably not 2025, maybe 2026, and try to actually have a full team of evolved Pokemon, see how that goes. But as this team goes, the team rating is a 6 out of 10, which is just a little bit lower than my lowest rating before this, which was Omega Ruby at 6.5 out of 10. The two unevolved Pokemon are a huge detriment to the team. The top 4 Mons held their own and managed to complete the run despite being underleveled, however. So, it could have been lower, but I think the top 4 Pokemon carried the last 2 so much that it doesn't get below a 6. Definitely could have planned this team out better, but it was my first playthrough on Pokemon Black. The next team will be more complete, and I'll probably use either Emboar or Superior. Hopefully not Superior, though. That kind of sucks. It's like Meganium of Unova. I guess slightly better, though. And we move on to the next team, which is Pokemon Violet. So, what you may not know is that this Pokemon Violet team, which is my main Pokemon Violet file, was supposed to be a Nuzlocke. Problem is, I lost, alright? So, I lost to Airy. And this is my only Pokemon file. I didn't want to just reset it. I was already nearly done with the game. I needed a base file for Pokemon Violet. So, I did delete it. Instead, I just continued the run, which people are known to do. I've seen a few streamers who have lost the run. It was just like, whatever, I'm going to beat the game anyway, just for fun. And that's what I did here. I did complete the Nuzlocke, which I'll have a whole video about that later. But yeah, that's the story behind this team. It's also my 3rd total playthrough of Pokemon Violet. This is Topher the Skeleturge. I've learned through the process of elimination that Skeleturge is by far the best starter in this game. It's like, Skeleturge is like a 10 out of 10 Pokemon Violet Pokemon. Meowscarada gets like an 8, 7, and Quaquaval gets like a 6, maybe a 7. Like, Quaquaval isn't that useful. Meowscarada is kind of frail, so for a Nuzlocke it's kind of scary. Skeleturge has exactly what you want in Nuzlocke Pokemon. It has sweet potential, and it has bulkiness, so we'll just get one shot out of nowhere. Topher didn't end up dying to Airy, though, because it was like the last Pokemon to survive. He had Blaze, Hyper Voice, Yawn, which I'm not sure if Yawn was part of the moveset when I beat the game. Because you can see here, Topher's level 100. It's been a while since I lost his Nuzlocke. It was like back... By the way, this was also completed in February, by the way. This run was completed late February, while the other one was early February. So I don't know if it still had Yawn, but it doesn't really matter. Torch Song and Shadow Ball. Topher gets an 8.5 out of 10. He's not my best Skeleturge ever, but definitely a must for an easier Nuzlocke experience. Because my second attempt, I chose Sprigatito and lost to Katie. So I'll talk about that too much, though. Skeleturge is pretty good. Trace the Shiny Luxray. Interestingly, I don't think Trace was in the battle against Airy. I had a very specific team for that battle, and it just didn't work out. So Trace was just in the box, not dead, but the run was over. Because some people they do choose to have the rule that they can keep going if they still put one in the box. That's not an official Nuzlocke rule. That's not how I go, so I still ended the run despite having decently powerful Pokemon in my box. This Luxray had Intimidate, which is way better than Rivalry. And it was a shiny, so yeah. 3 encounters. It came with Crunch, Thunder Wave, Spark, and Play Rough. Play Rough was a great move to add to Luxray, by the way. The fact that Luxray has no coverage in Brilliant Diamond but has Play Rough in Violet is a huge difference. But this one still only gets an 8 out of 10, which isn't bad, but it's not like MVP level. Luxray just doesn't do much in Scarlet and Violet. It beats Kofu. The Flying Titan is just, you can beat that with any Pokemon in the game. It's not hard. I don't even remember if I used Trace for that or not. But a pure electric type of Intimidate is enough to be a good Pokemon. Yeah, Intimidate, the best ability maybe in Nuzlocke history. I mean, just being able to lower Pokemon's attack, which is a huge reason that I won my other Nuzlocke, by the way, because the Gyarados is Intimidate. Yeah, Trace, great Pokemon. Not anything extraordinary, not anything special, but he got the job done. And you'll notice, I like using pure electric types, or electric types in general. Having few, this is probably better than being strong than a lot of types in some scenarios, like Nuzlocke's. As we move on to Ellie, the Caparaja. Sheer Force. I like Caparaja. I used a shiny one recently. That'll be for Pokémon Teams in 2025, but it's a weird shaped elephant, to be fair, but I mean, it's a really good steel type. I love bulky, pure types Pokemon like Mudsdale, Caparaja, stuff like that. Ellie has superpower, play rough as well, high horsepower, and heavy slam as its only stat move. Ellie gets a 9 out of 10, and she wasn't included in the, why does it say 0? Airy battle, because she's a steel type. Another very strong Pokemon that was one of my mains that didn't even get to, like, be a heroic loss. She was just sitting in the box with me having, like, my team sucked. They had, like, a Bruxish. Like, it was a bunch of random psychic and fairy types I grabbed off the road. Didn't grind up high enough and thought I could beat Airy. I got destroyed. I don't even know if I got to her final Pokemon. But yeah, Ellie just kind of watched it happen. But she was very useful before and after the run ended. She gets MVP for this team. Caparaja's pretty good, yeah. There's not much to say. But if you have a wide move pool, and you're bulky, and you have a great type like Steel or Ground, I keep referencing Mudsdale, you're probably going to have a high chance of being MVP. By the way, Mudsdale's one of my few 10 out of 10 MVPs on my Sun deck lock, which I successfully completed a while back. Caparaja gets MVP for my Violet Nuzlocke fail. Osiris the Honchkrow had... Okay, so listen. These three... Wait, no, why? I'm spoiling everything. But, these three, Topher, Trace, Ellie, were all caught before the Nuzlocke ended. Osiris was caught before it ended, but he was not touched until after. Like, I didn't add him to the team until it was over. Because he didn't resist fighting, and I just didn't see much use for Honchkrow. Probably could have been pretty good, though. I think a priority move like Sucker Punch would have been useful. Insomnia is not really a crazy useful ability, but still had... Wait, also... Yeah, Caparaja has Sheer Force too, so... Which I don't think was that useful, right? Because Heavy Sand doesn't have anything additional. High Horsepower doesn't. Play Rough does, so that actually was boosted and Superpower doesn't. Besides, I mean, if it hurts you, then Sheer Force doesn't work on it, so it won't take away recoil, it won't take away any stat drops. Anyway... Osiris had Hurricane, Psychic, Foul Play, Sucker Punch. And he gets that basic 7 out of 10. A Pokemon that had nothing wrong with it, but also nothing remarkable. Since 7 out of 10 is average, that's where Osiris lands. I don't have much crazy memories of Osiris doing anything special. Honchkrow isn't one of my favorite Pokemon either. I actually call it Shiny Murkrow. Literally yesterday. Doesn't make me like Honchkrow more, though. I don't care for the Pokemon. I didn't care for it in this run either. And is this last? I can't remember. No, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's not the last one. Violet the Indeedee, had Old Tempo, the female version, by the way. Terra Blast, which was, since it's already a normal type, just gets even stronger if you Terra normal. Dazzling Gleam and Psychic Terrain. And Psychic. I don't think I ever used Psychic Terrain, though. 6.5 out of 10, which is, like, below the average for my team. But to be, like, bad, like, actual, like, hurting the team, it would be, like, a below a 6 for my rankings. A pure psychic type of mid stats. Kind of on the team just so I had another special attacker because it was just Skeletor. Like, that was my only special attacker on the team. So for when he didn't work out, I used Indeedee instead because, I mean, I needed another special attacker. I'm always one of those players who pretty much always opts towards physical attackers. I usually have 4 to 5 on my team and then 1 to 2 special attackers. There's rare circumstances where I'll have multiple special attackers, 3. They're rarely the majority, to be fair. Indeedee's the only one besides Skeletor's on this team, and she didn't do anything crazy at all. once again, she was added late, so she didn't have much of a chance to shine either. And we got B, the Heracross. I don't like her very much. She had guts, which I never used because the only time I thought that would be relevant is during a Nuzlocke, and she did what did part. Well, no, actually, B did die. I think Topher and Beam are the only ones here that were in the. No. Violet was definitely in the final battle. I caught her after, like, right before I did the battle against Aerie. And Heracross. Actually, she had Terra Psychic. I could have won. I think the problem was I couldn't get off a powerful enough Psychics with her. And it just was bad. It was a bad battle. But, B was in the battle too. She had Pin Missile, Bullet Seed, Close Combat, and Swords Dance. And I ranked her 7.5 out of 10. She killed Fancy, the Shiny Dawn fan, during the run. I was trying to catch this Heracross, and I think she hit like a critical hit Brick Break or something. Like, it was insane. No. I think what happened is, I can't remember. I think I was going to catch it, and then it either hit like Swords Dance or something crazy. I was like, oh, I need to run. Which, by the way, stupid of me to try to run with a Dawn fan instead of switching into something that resisted or something. Like, I have Skeletor's in the party at this time. I'm sure I do. This thing could not hurt Skeletor's. I could have switched, and I was good. Because it had fighting and bug type moves. Fighting, Skeletor's is immune to. Bug, it resists. I would have been fine if I switched to Skeletor's, but I had to be complicated trying to run away. Or maybe being too simple by trying to run away. And that cost Fancy her life. I respect B because she was actually good during the run. She's the only one who was really late addition that actually stood out. But, I mean, giving her an 8 would be disrespectful to the Shiny Dawn fan that died during this run. I still have her. But, like, it's kind of mad. I could have won with Dawn fan because it's pretty bulky and Aerie has a ton of physical attackers. This team rating is a 7.5 out of 10. Quite the improvement from my Pokemon Black team. A very odd team considering that it was mostly built for a Nuzlocke until late game. Osiris, Violet, and B were all added later and didn't do anything significant. The reason this team is above a 7 is because the core 3 covered each other's bases very well besides ground types. This team sucks against ground types. Even Honchkrow, which is the only Pokemon that isn't really bad against them, can't hit with super effective move. I don't have a single super effective move against ground types on this team. But it gets a 7.5, which is pretty good. Now, this is the little intervention kind of thing we have. Because I played the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc for the first time in 2024. Probably around, I think it was June. Yeah, June. I beat it in June. I'm sure. It was like June 7th or something. I'm not going to do full team preview because these teams are like not used as much. They don't deserve full rankings, alright? I mean, they get the rankings, but they don't get explanations and movesets that I did for the other ones. It would take too long anyway if I had 5 teams in this one video. Alright, let's start. Nose Goat, the Shiny Promo Pass. Found completely randomly. I wanted 1 Shiny on each team. I found a few. I think I found 4 for these 2 teams. He gets a 7 out of 10. Average to Pokemon. I don't like Promo Pass. I don't like that it's 4 times weak to ground. Okay, I didn't like it. It sucked. And fighting, 7 out of 10 might be too nice. It wasn't very good. Anyway, next is Shiny Omega, named Lapis. It gets a 7.3 out of 10. I think maybe it was even a little bit better. Maybe it deserves a 7.5, but it didn't do anything crazy. Pretty fast and powerful, though, and I like Shiny Omega. It's pretty cool. Laxman, the Snorlax is a 7.5 out of 10. I really want to use a Snorlax. Haven't used one in a long time. Definitely not since 2021, which is when I started the series. It was probably one of the better Pokemon on this team. Super the Infernape, which was the one you get the egg from, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Jock? I think it was like Jock. One of the better members on this team because he's a starter. And Infernape is just broken, alright? This is that simple. And finally, my MVP, Warrior the Como. It's a 9.5. It had I caught it from a cavern. That's a J-Mo-O. Steel Terra type. A Pokemon that's 4 times weak to Fairy automatically got the Steel Terra type. So, yeah, this thing was absolutely broken. It swept a lot of the little battles in this thing, along with the side battles as well. Even the ones that weren't against Kieran. Definitely the MVP of this team. And finally, this doesn't really count, but I had Ponyo, the Ogre Pond. It was there. That's all I have to say. It was there at the end. Let's quickly go through the Indigo Disc. Pure Metal, the Archaludon was the MVP. 9 out of 10. Very good Steel type. And you need some good Pokemon for the Indigo Disc because the battles are tough. Dragon off the Flygon only gets a 6.8. It was pretty disappointing. I expected Flygon to do more. It just was the worst Dragon type on the team. And there was 2 of them. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible. Just wasn't great. Scizor gets 9 out of 10. His name was Merc. I was debating between this thing and Archaludon for MVP. I gave it to Archaludon, but it's a very close race. I could have went either way. Action, the Inteleon gets 7.5. Kind of frail for these types of competitive double battles, but I mean, it did its job and U-turned when things got tough. Lavender, the shiny Sawsbuck, I found very quickly. I think I was looking for a shiny at this time because I needed a shiny, and I found one very quickly of shiny Deerling. Sadly, Sawsbuck sucks, alright? So, it was not useful for these challenging battles. And, I didn't even mention team rating. Team rating for Team Master, 7.5 out of 10. It was decent. Pretty good team. And Charizard, the shiny Charizard, got an 8.5 out of 10. We had Terra Grass. I changed it to Terra Grass on purpose. And I found a shiny Charmander. That was really cool. That was very cool to find a shiny Charmander. Indigo Disc gets 7.7 out of 10 and would recommend. Pretty good team. And to close this out, I need to rush a little bit because I'm pretty sure this video's already been over 10 minutes long. Brilliant Diamond's second playthrough. My last run of the year, which this one was completed in like December. Pretty big gap between these runs. We had 2 in February, 2 in June, 1 in December. So this one's different, alright? So what I did is that I caught a bunch of these shinies, sent them the Brilliant Diamond, and used them. So I can have a full shiny team for the first time. So no starter, sadly, because I didn't want to go hunt for a Sinnoh starter. Lil Riley, the shiny Lucario. I caught 2 shiny Lucarios. One is level 100. One was used in Brilliant Diamond. It had Inner Focus, Dragon Pulse, Flash Cannon, Shadow Claw, Aura Sphere, which is a very basic Lucario set, but it always gets the job done. Well, I don't know how I didn't have... I think it was actually a better special attacker in this case, so I actually used Flash Cannon over Meteor Mash. But 8 out of 10, one of my better Lucarios. I mean, even though Lucario's my favorite Pokemon, I will admit a lot of them have been underleveled and unuseful, but this one was not. When it's not underleveled, it can be a beast in Brilliant Diamond Shiny Pearl. Tiffany, the shiny Donphan, is up next, which is, by the way, very creative name. Look, so I had Fan T in my Violet Nuzlocke. I moved the Fan T to T at the beginning, and it's Tiffany. Never. Listen. Naming is tough. So you get a gem like this one, you have to tell everybody about it. Sturdy wasn't that useful because Donphan is usually surviving anyway, but still a good ability. Rock Tomb, Earthquake, Endure, which I never used, and Giga Impact. Earthquake's broken. 8.5 out of 10. Great typing, bulk, and damage output makes this elephant the BDSP MVP. Pretty low for MVP, actually. My MVP is almost always 10 or 9. 9 or 10, always. I think 9.5 might be one of them, but 8.5 is kind of low. The team wasn't, had any sweepers. There's a lot of consistent teammates here. I like Donphan a lot. I like shiny Donphan. I found 3 ever. I found 3. I found the one in my Nuzlocke, the one that was used in Brilliant Diamond, and one in my old Pokemon Violet file. Next we have another Floatzel. John, the shiny Floatzel. Another one, I know. Swift Swim with Bite, Swift Aqua Jet Skull. Terrible moveset. 7 out of 10. Another decent Floatzel to add to the collection. I gotta stop using them. And not because they're terrible, because they're boring. They have the good water type move either Surfer, Scald, Aqua Jet, Bite, and Swift every time. I think it has Crunch in like one of mine. I mean, Fossil's fine. It's never below like a 6. Actually, I don't even think it's ever below a 7. But the problem is I use it all the time. It gets kind of boring. But it's a good Pokemon. I like it. Just gotta move on at some point. Cropter the Shiny Jump Bluff. Another great name. Helicopter plus crop because it's a plant. Helicopter, Cropter for short. Chlorophyll. Acrobatics is a great move. Bullet Seed's actually a really good move. Actually, I think it's probably one of the better multi-attack moves. And then we got U-Turn, which is always a great move, and Dazzling Gleam. Cropter gets a 7.5 out of 10. Kind of reminds me of a better Serena in terms of how I used it. I used Serena in like Ultra Sun, I think. Better coverage and utility gives Cropter the upper hand, though. I think Serena got a 7 out of 10. And Jumpluff gets a 7.5, so pretty decent Pokemon for Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. And we got Carnate. Carnate's different because he can't be transferred back to Violet, so he's just chilling in Pokemon Home right now. I think it was a girl, so I hope Carnate's doing good in Pokemon Home right now. Card from Pokemon Go, which makes it different than all these other guys as well. Soundproof is his ability. Crunch, Avalanche, Hyper Voice, and Howl. It gets a 7 out of 10. As a normal type, I wanted better coverage. Usually my normal types are used for just big damage and coverage, which X-Paw doesn't really do any of those crazy well. Carnate did their part in taking down Cynthia's Garchomp. I think X-Paw got down to like the red with Avalanche before. I don't know who cleaned it up. It might have been John. I'm not exactly sure, even though it was pretty recent. I should remember this stuff, but I do not. Yeah, good job, Carnate, for that one thing, but other than that, it was not that useful. And we got Cross the Ampharos, another pink shiny. I don't know why I had so many, but I do. Static has his ability. Dragon Pulse, Rock Smash, Discharge, and Power Gem. Another 8 out of 10. Pure Electric is simply a great type to have. I just like pure electric types, man. Only one weakness, and I'm strong to Flying and Water, which are both pretty common types in playthroughs. A good option, and another, as I just said, pink shiny. Cross is pretty cool. Just want to mention that Cross, Carnate, and Tiffany were both all like named after this playthrough finished because I forgot to name them during it. It's like when I caught them at shiny, so I have to name them later. Team rating is also a 7.5 out of 10. The members of this team really struggle to stand out. They're all about average, but they face some really tough challenges in the end game and eventually came out on top. The first shiny squad is a success. I could do something, we're gonna have Pokemon Legends Z8 later. Maybe I'll make a video about it, like a short or something. But that's it for the teams today. This is a quick little team ranking. Black was obviously the worst, but the real question is, do you like Violet more or Brilliant Diamond? I just Brilliant Diamond because Violet's team was more put together because I failed in Nuzlocke, so it was kind of bitter finishing that one, while Brilliant Diamond was just fun to use these shiny Pokemon that I caught a while ago and had no use for to take down Brilliant Diamond, which my first playthrough didn't go so well against. And the top 10 of these Pokemon, by the way, I'm not ranking the DLC teams. It doesn't make sense because the Pokemon and teams didn't get nearly as much time for development, and they're caught at like level 60s, while these ones are caught way earlier for the most part. 10 goes to V the Galvantula, 9 to Trace the Luxray, X 8 to cross the Ampharos. My electric types are all just kind of at the bottom of the list, but I mean, those 18 total Pokemon, so being in the top 10 is pretty good. 7 is Chopper the Samurai, 6 is Riley the Lucario, Chris the Crocodile is at 5, Topher the Skeletor is at 4, 3 goes to the MVP of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, Tiffany the Donphan, 2 goes to Ellie the Copperajah, the MVP of my Violet, and Dreeky the Darmanitan goes to number 1 as the MVP of my Black playthrough. Expect the Violet Nuzlocke vid later in March, maybe? Like, it could be somewhere in that frame. But I also want to talk about Legends ZA a little bit before I end this. I want to do a playthrough there, of course. I want to do a Nuzlocke there, and I want to do a playthrough with Pokemon. Like when Pokemon Home comes out for it, I want to be able to put my Pokemon in Violet in there. Like some shinies, some Pokemon I want to use. Like I want to probably try to Totodile and add it to that game. And beat it like that. So there might be like 3 playthroughs of this game from 2025 to 2026. So expect a lot of those. And I'm probably going to talk about it once or twice before it comes out. See you guys next time.